Hello everyone, it's Leon here, and I'm with Emma, who's been playing Disney Infinity.
Hello.
What did you give it?
I gave it 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Oh, that's quite low considering Disney have supposedly spent $100 million on it or something like that.
Well, it's good for what it is, but it's obviously sort of very much aimed at kids, so it'd be great for children, but there's not quite as much in it sort of to offer to adults, I wouldn't say.
So explain what you get, because obviously when it arrived we've got a bunch of toys and figures and a little plastic stand. Kind of just explain the premise of the paraphernalia and the actual sort of game itself.
Okay, so it's quite a lot like Skylanders. In the starter pack, you get the disc, obviously, and then you get USB...
So the disc, what's the disc?
The disc is the thing that goes into the machine.
So this is like like the
like a
Skylanders
Blu-ray
kind of trophy thing.
No,
oh,
the
sorry,
Blu-ray.
okay.
And then you get a base that
That's
plugs in with USB.
That's what I was
yeah. You get that as well, and then you get.
Well, you see the base here. So the base is where you stand the figures.
Yeah, and you get 3 figures. You get Sully from Monsters Inc., Mr. Incredible, and Jack Sparrow, and then you also get. I can't remember what it's called, but another bit that stands in the back slot.
It's like little cubes and
discs. It looks like a little dice almost, and that sort of contains the world. So that's got all 3 for the starter pack on it. And then each of the characters, sort of you plug them into the base, and that unlocks their world.
So how does it? So when you load the game up, how do you go? So we're seeing Sully here. Do you put Sully in, and then it takes you to Sully's world,
and then you select in the menu that you want to go to Monsters University.
Okay.
So you can only play with the character in the world that they've got. So you couldn't, for example, put Jack Sparrow in here and have him wandering around.
Yeah, which I think kids aren't going to like, because I don't think kids are going to understand why Disney say they can't do that.
Well, the thing is, the story modes are, on one hand is a limitation, but on the other hand, the story modes are like, this is a Monsters University story.
Yeah.
So you're doing things that are sort of vaguely pertinent to the film. It's like, it's not a retelling of the film's story, but it's stuff that would tie in with the film.
It's like so that each one's almost like a tie-in.
Yeah.
For each of the films it's associated with. Seeing Jack Sparrow here.
Yeah, so with Jack Sparrow you sort of rebuild your ship and then you start sailing that. But then you've also got a sort of sandbox mode called Toy Box mode. And so throughout the games, there's sort of like the story modes. You pick up these little red capsules, and they've got items in.
They're like little toy pods, aren't you? Things you put your money in, turn the dial, and the little thing drops out.
So it's like Little Big Planet. You're collecting these items, and then you can go into sandbox mode, and you're given a plot of land, and you can just build on it. And so you can place.
We'll see a little bit of that in a little while.
But you can put different characters together.
So then you can mix characters
because it's got 2-player split screen. So then you could put in. That's when the extra characters come in, aside from the playsets.
So the base has got 2 slots on it. So one is like player 1, one is player 2.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can buy extra playsets, which we've got the Lone Ranger one in the office. So those are they come with one of the world tokens as well.
Right.
So for that you then actually go into that world. And it's like another story section.
So you've got to have the right token to play the right character.
But the playsets come like that.
Okay, but if you were to say lose Sully's token, then you couldn't play Monsters University? Even if you had the figures?
I think so. But then you can also buy figures, like you can buy Mike from Monsters Inc. I think you can buy the remaining Incredibles family. And I think you can then use them in toy box mode. Okay,
so what are the different things? We've seen some... What did we see there? We saw some scaring, we saw Jack running around shooting stuff, we're seeing Mr. Incredible here. There's a cube, isn't it, that has the bits and pieces
you can sort of go into your mission log and you can go into the toy store, and that's where the sort of things you've picked up and the things you've bought. So, for example, that's his... you get a sports car like that.
Yeah.
And then you could take that into toy box mode and plant that, and then you could build a track if you'd collected the track bits, and then you could jump in as Jack Sparrow and go racing around in that car. Okay. And you could sort of build yourself a little Disney themed race track. Or
are you doing the same sort of things in each world? Is what Mr. Incredible does basically kind of what Jack does or Sully does, but as Mr. Incredible? Do you have different activities?
No.
I saw a lot of the climbing basically looks the same.
The climbing is a very similar mechanic, and you've got sort of you can see the ridges edged in yellow. That means that you can jump on it. So it's quite sort of user friendly. Sometimes you have to look around to find them, but then you've got it clearly marked out what you can and can't jump from. But you're doing separate things.
The objectives are different. You're not always doing basically the same thing, but as different characters.
No, for Sully, it's Monsters University rather than Monsters Inc. So you are engaged, like your Monsters University itself is engaged in a rivalry with Fear Tech, and so you go to their campus, and you're sort of pranking them, and
Right.
you have to do a lot of sneaking around because there are fellow students at Feartech that will like just start chasing you if they see you trying to like do mischief. So you have to sort of sneak, and then you can scare people to creep up behind them.
Okay, so
But then you have to sort of, as Captain Jack, you're being a pirate, and with Mr. Incredible, you're like beating off robots and like
okay. Within the creation sort of stuff here,
Yep.
what are you just placing objects, or
well, this is actually
This is the
they
tutorial,
give you
isn't
a
it?
little tutorial,
Yeah.
like you can do little adventures. So this is really cool. Actually, it's really well done. You've got this little pirate, and you're helping him. It's just as the tutorial mode for the building.
Yeah.
But so he's got a map, and it's like, oh, but the directions, these landmarks aren't here, so you have to create them, and it just sort of teaches you how to do the building. But yeah, once you've built it, you don't even have to build. You can just run around and be silly. But
Yeah.
you can then.
But it's not like Little
Do
Big
what the
Planet.
heck you
It's
like
not
in it.
it's not like switches and things. You're just placing objects. It's like
Yeah.
a toy box basically, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why it's called Toy Box Mode, I guess. But
Yeah,
you can put
yeah, but
in with
you know what I mean.
no, but you can put in like extra characters and stuff. So yeah, it's good for customizing, and sort of gives a bit of extra shelf life to it as well.
Yeah, so I mean, if you wanted to create like a racetrack, you build a racetrack. You
Yep.
could, I guess, you could build like naval battles. Whatever you've got with
Yeah.
the kits, you can then mess around.
Yeah,
with
and
them.
it sort of gives you a bit more of an incentive to explore and pick up these collectibles, because it's then more stuff that you can put into your toy box. So
Okay. So what were your sort of your favourite bits then?
some of the clambering around with Sully actually was really good on Monsters University, and there are some great bits when you just get to as a pirate, you just get to take a ship and sort of start sailing that around, and then you're firing your cannons as well. And
So they're actual like naval combat. Are you sort of boarding ships and stealing treasure?
don't know about boarding ships and seeing treasure, but you do sort of use your cannons to blast
Yeah.
at stuff as you're going along. So yeah, it's quite interesting having the different types, all of the characters. I quite like the fact that they all felt quite different. Like Sully feels sort of like stompy, lumbery. He feels quite heavy to move.
Yeah. I
And
was
then
quite
Mr.
surprised
Incredible
watching-
runs quickly, and then you've got sort of Johnny Depp, and he has the sort of Jack Sparrow walk nailed.
That was the thing I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
Even it's like a really sort of characterized kind of, or sorry, a caricatured sort of representation. He's got the walk perfectly. Like, even when you change directions, it was
The
it was
attention
spot
to
on.
detail is really good, actually. I don't know if it's actually Johnny Depp that they've got to voice Jack Sparrow, but it's certainly someone that
It'll be-
sounds
it'll
a
be
hell of a lot like
yeah.
him. And it all looks like it's stuff that's been taken, not necessarily the graphics being as high quality, but it all looks like
It does look lovely. I was surprised how
Like
it's obviously
films.
very stylized,
Yeah.
very kind of sort of artistic kind of representation, but it does look. I'm surprised how nice
Yeah.
it looks.
especially stuff like The Incredibles. I think that looks
Yeah.
really. I think it's a sort of visual style that lends itself well to a game, but
Exactly, yeah.
I think kids will love it because it's very Disney.
And what were your sort of the bits you didn't like? Then? 'Cause obviously 7 out of 10 is 7 out of 10 is not a bad score, but it's obviously not an 8 or a 9. Then what
Yeah.
was kind of counting against it?
It's got a lot of the sort of nostalgia value of being Disney, but then you've got the missions are very much broken up into teeny tiny chunks, and it sort of feels a little bit like you've done this, have a biscuit, over and over again.
But we
And-
do have to bear in mind that Skylanders has made like an obscene amount of
Oh,
money,
absolutely.
and for the kids, this is probably going
Oh,
to be.
oh no, it's fantastic for its audience, but also it is quite expensive, in that you're paying about £55 at least for the starter set, and then you'd be paying like £30 for another play set, and then about another 15 for the figures. So
Okay, so 7 out of 10, great for the kids.
yeah,